How you doing? I'm Jeff with J&O's Custom Woodworks. Welcome back to the channel. So we moved out of our single car garage back into our air conditioned wood shop. And today I just want to do a quick little tour and show you how we got it set up. I don't have any new tools or anything. I mean, if you see my last shop tour, same tools, just a different setup in here. So I just want to kind of go over it all and let you guys see what we're working with now. This shop is 11 and a half feet by 19 and a half feet long. So my last shop was 11 and a half feet wide by 22 and a half feet long, which is a difference of 34 and a half square feet. To me, 34 and a half more square foot compared to air conditioning. I think I can give up that 34 and a half square feet for the AC. I've got a 8,000 BTU air conditioner here, and we'll talk about that here in a few minutes. Let's start with how we've got it set up in here. So this is the door into my shop. It is 4 foot wide. I'm not sure how tall, 75 inches, I think. We have we live in East Texas, but we are from Louisiana, so we have an LSU flag hanging on our door here. And I built this door for the shop. It had a aluminum door with styrofoam insulation inside of it. It was falling to pieces, so I built this door. It was the previous door was hung on the outside and swung to the outside. I mounted this door on the inside, and it swings to the inside. So right as you come through the door, to your left is one of my workbenches. This bench was repurposed from a shelf, a 4 cubicle, I guess, shelf that came from Walmart, and the top was made out of an old IKEA bed. We repurposed it. We mounted it to this shelf. I got a couple 2x4s over here on this end, holding that end up. But this is where I put the shelf with all my power tools on it. The shop is too small to actually have the bench grinders set up anywhere. So we've got them up top up there. I've got a Black & Decker plunge router that was gifted to me. Next shelf down, I've got a Skil jigsaw with dust collection on it. It's okay. It's not the greatest, but next to that, I've got my Bosch trim router. I use that a lot. I use that on every project that I make, pretty much. And then next to that, I got a Bosch 7 1/4 inch, excuse me, circular saw. Below that, I've got my drills, 4 sander. Below that, I've got tape measures, a moisture meter. I've got a few little tool sets there. Right next to that shelf is my 8,000 BTU air conditioner. I actually had to take the window out because the window would not open up far enough to put this AC in it. So I had to take the window out, install the AC. I had to build all this, frame it up, waterproof it, and all that to keep rainwater from coming in. But this thing, at nighttime when I'm not in here, I'll leave it set on 72 on energy saver. That way it kicks on and off. I've got it on energy saver right now, but I turn it down to about 65 during the day because it gets really hot here in East Texas. And it stays pretty cool in here for the most part. I usually run a fan with it too. I got the fan off for the video right now, but that's my AC. So next to the AC is my workbench that I purchased from Harbor Freight. It's got a built-in light. It's got a shelf up top. I've got my TV up there. That's actually my last shop tour playing on YouTube right there. Go check that video out. I put a link in the video to it. I've got all my drill chargers here. I've got sandpaper. I've got screws. I use the Power Pro T20 screws. What else? I've got a bunch of junk in these drawers, screws, junk, trash. I'm not going to show that to you either. Below that, I've got a toolbox where I keep a bunch of bits, little hand tools and whatnot. And then next to that, I've got my Dremel in its carrying case there. And for I think this bench was $120 when I bought it. You can't beat that. The instructions to put it together are kind of sketchy, kind of hard to understand, but you can do it. I've had it for about 6 months now. So that's the workbench. So coming around here on the back wall, I've got my tool wall. In my last video, if you remember, I had a lot of tools on this wall, too many. So we kind of shrunk it down a little bit. We've got clamps. I need more clamps. I'm working on getting more clamps. We've got clamps. I've got my chisels. I use those a lot. I've got, my mallet that I've made out of oak. The head is made out of white oak. Handle's made out of red oak. I've got a rubber mallet. I've got a claw hammer, a ball peen hammer, Japanese pull saw, some crescent wrenches, a face clamp, some vice grips, channel locks, and then I got all my Swanson speed squares on this rack right here, and I got my levels sitting up top. I bought these squares here from Harbor Freight, and you might not believe me, but these are excellent. They've got little levels built into them, and they are on a perfect 90. I can take a Swanson speed square, put it right up to it. It's perfect. It's dead on. It's dead accurate. I use these to lay out along with my my Swanson speed squares. Swanson speed squares are probably the best square for the money. Are they the best on the market? No, but for the money, they're awesome. That's what I use. So right below the tool wall, next to the miter station, is this old Delta Shopmaster. This saw belonged to my dad. He passed away almost 3 years ago. Be 3 years in October. Anyway, this is the saw that I started out woodworking with. I borrowed this saw, and I just honestly never took it back. I started out with this saw. I don't use it very much anymore. I built this little sled for it. But other than using it to cut small things with the sled, I don't use the fence. There was a lock that used to be on the back here on this fence, and it came loose, and I didn't realize it, and I lost it. It fell off. So the fence is not accurate. It racks pretty bad. So this just kind of sits here, and I know I could probably put this back in my garage and make more room in here since I don't use it. But for right now, I just want to leave it in here. It's kind of sentimental, got sentimental value to it. So that's the Delta Shopmaster. So this is my miter saw station. It's 5.5 foot long. I think about 31 inches tall. I do want to make this longer. That corner over there has just got some old 2x4s piled up in it from where I took my outfeed table apart. But I do want to extend this all the way to the wall to give me more room and actually another workspace. It has a 10-inch sliding miter saw from Harbor Freight. This is not a compound. It only tilts one way. I've had this saw for almost 2 years now. It's the only miter saw I've ever owned. I can't compare it to anything else. I did have to adjust the fence out of the box. It was not square. It was not cut in square. But I adjusted this fence when I got it and when I set it up, and it's remained true for almost 2 years now. So it does the job. No need to really replace it right now. The dust collection sucks, and not literally. But I think it does on most miter saws. It doesn't have a boot down here or anything to. I could probably maybe put one on it. But it doesn't have a boot to deflect the dust up into the dust chute. So, but I could probably put one on it. I just haven't did it. But this saw gets the job done. I built this shelf out of reclaimed red oak, probably 6 months ago or so. I've just got a few saw blades hanging on it for decoration. I've got my son's trophies from baseball and basketball on it. I've got my nail guns hanging on the left side of it over here. I got a 18 gauge Power Glide from Harbor Freight. I've got an 18 gauge Bostitch from Lowe's. That's my favorite one. I use it all the time. I've got a 23 gauge Pinneller from Harbor Freight. I don't use this a whole lot because it's under. No matter what adjustments I make to it, I can't get it to do right for me. So we might do a review on that one day. I've been thinking about doing a video for top 5 tools to buy from Harbor Freight, and then top 5 tools not to buy from Harbor Freight, because I do have a lot of Harbor Freight tools that's right across the road from me. Easy access, doesn't take long to get there. And hey, a lot of their tools are good, but a lot of them are not good. So we might do a video on that one day. But that's the miter saw station. So to my right here is my Craftsman 6-inch benchtop jointer. This has been a pretty good jointer. And like I say, I don't have nothing to compare it to. It's the only one I've ever had. But it gets the job done. As long as you dial this fence in and get it 90 degrees, it's pretty sturdy. I check it every time before I use it to make sure that it's still straight up 90 degrees. I've had to change the blades out in this one time. I've had it for almost 2 years, same as the miter saw. But I only usually run pine through this. I build a lot of farmhouse furniture, the farmhouse furniture that's in right now that everybody wants. If I ran more hardwood through it, I'd probably have to replace the blades more often or sharpen them. But usually I just replace them. I do have it hooked to my dust collector, and dust collection on this thing is pretty awesome. If you don't have dust collection hooked up to this thing, if you think about buying one, it will stop up. It'll start throwing sawdust all in your face. You can even hook this to a shop vac. I used the shop vac on it for the longest time when I got it, and it still works. It works great with the shop vac, but I've got it hooked up to my dust collector, and so far it's done a pretty good job. And we'll talk about the dust collector next. So this is my Harbor Freight Central Machinery 2 horsepower dust collector. I think it's 1500 CFM. I've got it, I use it on my jointer and on my table saw. And it, for the price, I think I paid $220 for this when I bought it. I think it's actually cheaper than that now. I think it's on sale. For the price and the horsepower that you're getting in the CFM, you can't beat it. Yeah, I've seen a lot of people take these and, convert them, put a filter on top instead of the bag, put a cyclone on them, just to make them that much more efficient. But out of the box, set up the way this thing is awesome. I would like for the filter bag to be a little bit more efficient. I might replace it. I'm not sure how many microns this one is. I've got it hooked to a remote outlet. That way I've got my remote sitting over on my fence on my table saw. I just hit the on button, it comes on. I don't have to walk over here and hit the switch every time I want to turn it on and off. So that's my dust collector. This is my Delta 36-725T2. I don't have a whole lot of bad to say about this saw. It's good. It's got a good size to it. It's got plenty of power for what I do. It's got a 15 amp motor. The fence is phenomenal. It's the T-square fence. It glides easy. I bought this saw secondhand. I didn't get this saw at the great Delta table saw sale that Lowe's put on a few months ago, back around Christmas time. I bought this saw secondhand. I paid about the same amount of money for it as what it was new when it went on sale at Lowe's. The miter gauge is not too bad for a factory miter gauge. I mean, table saws come with crappy miter gauges all the time, and this is probably the best one I've seen. I've had, probably 5 or 6 table saws, and this is by far the best. Excuse me, the best miter gauge that I've seen come on a table saw. This is an awesome saw. I've got a 4 foot by 4 foot outfeed table. This used to be my assembly table when we were in the garage, and I had a 3 foot by 4 foot outfeed table for the table saw. But when we moved in here, it just wasn't enough room to have both of them in here. So, like I said, I took the table apart. That's all the lumber over there in the corner for that. And we just went with this. I've got this table that I can assemble on. I've got my workbench over here. It's a little bit smaller that I could assemble small stuff on. And when I extend the miter station, we'll be able to assemble stuff over there too. For lighting, I got these 4 foot LED lights. I've got 2 of them in here right now. I'm going to put another one in here. I've got 2 of them in my garage. I had 4 of them hanging in my garage. I bought a 4-pack of them off Amazon for $100, probably 2 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, for my garage. And they're still kicking. They're still going strong. I mean, pretty good value, I think, for $100. But I'm going to put a 3rd one in here because it's kind of dark on this end, and I'll leave one in the garage for lighting in there. So that's the new to me shop, guys. If you got any value out of this video, if you like watching my videos, please consider hitting that subscribe button. And make sure you hit the bell icon. That way you're notified anytime we release new content. And until next time, keep making sawdust and stay safe.